This is a very special video. It's the last video of my 2025 road trip. Cleaned myself up for you guys. I don't know if you can tell, I shaved, shampooed, showered at a Planet Fitness back here, somewhere in upstate New York. I'm going to be re-entering Massachusetts tonight. Before I do that, I wanted to stop at a very special place. This is Peebles Island State Park. The confluence of New York's two mighty rivers, the Mohawk and the Hudson. It's also the easternmost terminus of the Erie Canal. They have some old locks here, some cool bridges, infrastructure. You can see the canal. There's a conjunction of a couple of canals here. I'm going to walk around, catch a sunset here, show you guys around. How cool would it be to have a yacht? This one's from Maryland. I guess they just travel the globe in these things. After Vanlife, that's next logical step for me, I suppose. A few years away on that. So this is not only the easternmost terminus of the Erie Canal, it's the first lock that lifts you up about 20 feet in elevation, and it's the conjunction with the Champlain Canal, which was built at the same time. When they passed the legislation for the Erie Canal, it didn't only authorize the Erie Canal, it authorized like a constellation of hundreds of canals all over the country, including one that connected the Hudson River to Lake Champlain. And it actually crosses the Erie Canal right up here. I want to do this summer a 200th anniversary of the Erie Canal. Yes, it opened in 1825. You see it starts right here, just outside of Buffalo, and runs all the way to where we are right now. It originally went to Albany. It went from here to here, but they cut that off after only like 20 years into the project. There's also this canal here, which connects to Lake Champlain. That behind me is gate E2, E for East 2, because it was originally the second lock you encountered going east to west from Albany to Buffalo. The first one was in Albany. They since closed that down. The Erie Canal was built in phases. The first incarnation of the Erie Canal did not use the rivers at all. The entire thing was built in a trench adjacent to the rivers. All the way from Albany to Buffalo, it was towed by mules the entire time. It wasn't until they invented the steam engine that they could move a lot of the traffic onto the rivers themselves. That's when portions of the Erie Canal started to close. My favorite portion of the Erie Canal, probably on the entire thing, is right up here. It's where it crosses the Champlain Canal. I don't know if you've ever seen two canals crossing in the wild. It's just like the coolest thing, in my opinion. This right here that I'm walking alongside is the original Erie Canal, and the Champlain Canal, which connected the Hudson River to Lake Champlain, dug with the same legislation, is this right here. It bends around this way and works its way up to Lake Champlain. This must have been kind of harrowing. There's like a steep waterfall right there. I love this spot. I always see people fishing in all four corners of this conjunction right here. Someone owns a house right there and has their own private access. That is the coolest thing. If I did that, I would be putting Moby Dick on this all the time. This portion of the Erie Canal, it still gets used. You can still take a boat through it. There's lock keepers, along the entire thing. It's mostly used for recreation. As for why they had to build this canal at all and couldn't just take the boats from the Hudson directly on the Mohawk, it's because where the Mohawk pours into the Hudson around Peebles Island, it's all rocky and rapid and shallow, and it's totally unnavigable. The locks are now made of steel. They were originally made of white oak, and they covered them in pine sap. I guess that worked well enough for dozens of years. But you can see the difference in elevation. This side and that side, maybe 10 feet. Maybe you can't. This gate is pretty cool. It lets you walk right across it. I'll do that right now. I'll get you to the other side. That sign says the difference in elevation is 15 feet on either side of the lock. Also, the original canal was 40 feet wide and only 4 feet deep. And like I said, the barges were towed by mules the entire length of the thing. They did not have motors. They did not use the current or anything like that. I also happen to think it's really cool that they just leave these open to the public and let people walk right across the gate. Look at that. Look how cool that is. And there's a gatekeeper who works in that lock from like 9 to 5 every day. Sorry for the weird angle here. I lost my tripod somewhere boating yesterday, I guess. I want to come back and do a whole video about the Erie Canal. I'm not going to spoil it any further. It's getting dark. So now it's time to go back to Massachusetts, where I will be spending the last day of this road trip. I crossed the Hudson. That's a milestone. I've got one more milestone to do, which is getting up and over the Taconic Ridgeline, which is what separates Mass from New York State. I punished the hell out of my van on this trip. What I didn't do in distance, I made up for in elevation. I can't believe I took this sucker up in the Skyline Drive. So I am stealth camping in Mass tonight. I thought about putting my exterior wireless camera, my security camera up, but I noticed with this skylight, I can actually stick my head up a little bit and look around. It's very cool. Anyway, yeah, this is my grand re-entry into Massachusetts. Tomorrow is my last day of this vacation, and I'm gonna spend it wisely. I'm all clean shaven. I feel great. I just want to get a good night's sleep. I am driving towards Boston today for one last kayaking adventure, but check out the mirror right here. There's probably like 200 dead mosquitoes there alone. My car is a disaster. I feel like I killed an entire biosphere worth of insects, so I'm gonna give it a deep clean. Even though Moby Dick is still in the back, he gets pretty dirty. I just can't continue without cleaning this. Here we go, Palmer Car Wash. I've used this place before. Oh man, I can't wait to blast this thing. This is the most time and money I've ever spent at a car wash. I don't care, this feels great. The guy vacuuming right next to me said that is a sweet camper. When I first converted this van, like the first year, it was pretty rough. It was just a basic cargo van with like a hole cut in the side for a window. People were saying, I heard people like walk by and say, look at that creepy van, look at that like sketchy van, you know what I mean? Now that I've done all these modifications to it and keep it nice and clean, no one says that anymore. Everyone calls it like a sweet ride. Everyone compliments it. That feels great, Just like with yourself, like looks are everything. If you're gonna live in a van or have a camper, don't have it looking like a shit box. Keep it in good shape. Tidy it up. The exterior looks are everything. If people like the way your van looks, they're probably gonna not give you a hard time. If your van looks like something that belongs in a scrapyard, you might get like police called on your ass. You know what I mean? Anyway. Yeah, this is, like I said, the most time and money I've ever spent. This is the Palmer Car Wash, one I like a lot. I cleaned the hell out of everything. I know it's just gonna get dirty again today because I'll be kayaking again. The only thing I'm starting to worry about is all the scratches in the paint. It got really beat up. It's mostly like top coat scratches, but some of it goes through. I'm gonna have to do something about I don't know, maybe take it to an auto body shop at some point, but right now, I want to get on the water. I'm going to the Mystic River in Boston, one of the 3 major rivers of Boston that dump into Boston Harbor, along with the Charles and the Neponset. Not sure where I'm going to be kayaking. I might be meeting up with someone for this adventure. I'm looking forward to it. I cannot get all this bug schmutz off my windshield after scrubbing it, power washing it, rubbing it by hand. Not sure what to do. Goo Gone? This is the Condon Shell right here in Medford, Mass. In the 20 years I lived in Boston, I never saw a concert here. I think I walked along the Mystic River like once that entire time. What a wasted opportunity. What a beautiful river. Some history about it here. I guess there was a big shipbuilding industry here in the 17 and 1800s. Now it's all been reclaimed from its industrial pollution days of the mid-1900s. And you can rent a kayak here from a little DCR rental. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put Moby Dick on this. Looks like a beautiful day. When I first started doing this, I used this cord to strap to my kayak oars. That's what everyone online said to do. Now I strap it to my boat box, which has my wallet, my keys. I feel like that's more important, you know, in terms of drifting away. Honestly, I should just get like more of these and strap everything together. This empties into Boston Harbor, and there's like almost no current right here. So I can go in either direction. I think I'm gonna go downstream a little because some friends might be joining me soon. I have a feeling they'll want to go upstream. How cool would it be to have a house like this with your own little dock and a boat? I mean, from here you can get on the ocean, you can go anywhere. So there is a current on this river, and also a big gust of wind just pushed me. The thing about this Oru boat, like, it wants to be parallel, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't want to face the way you're going. It wants to face broadside to the wind, whichever way the wind is blowing. I'm pretty sure this is the Mystic Valley Parkway I'm going underneath right now. Looks like this bridge could use a little TLC. I hope the cement doesn't fall on me. And coming up next is Medford Square, the heart of Medford. It's interesting that on the right there, they have a third tunnel, I guess, for high clearance boats. Now look at this, foundation of something that used to be there. All right, so that's not a foundation, it's a culvert. It's about like 1.5 feet high. I could probably sneak my kayak up that. But I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. There's no way I'm doing that. A lot of people out here on these boards you kneel on the entire time. I would get so tired of that. Interesting phenomena. I went downstream enough that I guess I got to where it's affected by the tide. The tide is rising and it started pushing me back upstream. Anyway, my friends arrived. I'm gonna start paddling upstream. We're gonna try to paddle all the way to the source of the Mystic River, the Mystic Lakes. Beautiful spot, maybe do some swimming. Here we are, the Mystic Lakes. Finally made it to the southern lake. I just blasted through like 3 miles. People I was trying to catch up with moved really quickly. Now I'm gonna try to find them. I had a superb time on the Mystic River. Once I met up with my friends on that lake, I just kind of stopped filming. But that was fun. I got a workout in. That made me learn how much this Oru kayak that I have is not like a regular kayak. It does not track well. It spins around. It requires so much more work than a regular kayak. Like I said, it's more like paddling a raft than a kayak. Just keep that in mind if you're thinking of getting one. So it's a little late. I got to my sleeping spot for the night. Tomorrow is my big in-office day in Boston. I've got almost no supplies. The only store near where I'm parked is a little service plaza on the interstate over here. So I'm gonna try to walk through the side ramps and sneak my way there. Yeah, if you can see where that McDonald's sign is, I'll try to zoom in a little. That is a service plaza on this I-95. I somehow have to cross it and like run across a couple of the on-off ramps. I think I can do it. This derelict building over here to my right was a hotel up until COVID hit. And then it closed down and it's just like falling into ruin, which is kind of sad. All right, so this is the first ramp I need to cross. No one's coming from that way. And I need to just cross this. I think I'll do it right now while I have a running shot. And from here, there's only one more ramp, I think, that I need to cross. I could run down there and try to scamper across I-95, but I will get run flat. So I think on the other side of this, there is a little ramp. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little hobo path through the woods up here. I can't be the first person to walk from that parking lot to this service plaza here. It's the only store nearby. Let's see, is there a path? Is there a path? I bet there is. I'm putting my money on it. Right over here. Well, there kinda is. Let's see, let's take a look what we got. It is kind of opening up. Is this a path right here? All right, well, I'll have to do a little bit of bushwhacking, guys, but this ain't so bad. Nah, that is pure thorns and poison ivy. That was a bad inclination right there. I'm gonna walk the sidewalk a little bit more. Maybe there's another path. I think the right way is just to follow along the white line here until I get close to that service plaza and then just scamper across. Super careful about the cars coming around this turn. Sure, the service plaza is that American flag right over there. But how do I get over there? Do I have to scale this rock right here? Oh, yeah, I'm almost there, guys. I'm almost there. Worst part is just all the thorns in here. But this is the parking lot for that service plaza. I am almost through. Just one more grove to go. Boom. Check this out. 1, 2, 3, 4 vans. Obviously lived in vans. Staying here possibly the night. Maybe this is a better spot. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Yup, pretzels and Diet Coke. What can I say? I had a craving. Now I just hope there's enough residual light to get back. I think the worst part is going through the woods right here. This is where I snuck in before. Yeah, kind of a clearing. And then I just need to get down this little embankment here. There's like a, ouch, thorns in my raw skin, and also a 16-foot drop I have to navigate here. This is not a great path at all. I am coming out of this scarred, wounded, but a stronger person, and through the worst part. Now just scamper across 2 ramps right here. Here's the first one. There's a car coming. And then this one, man, these guys really fly way too fast around this turn. I would never do that. I'd be worried about tipping over. All right, here we go. Look at that beautiful sunset right there. More importantly, the sidewalk is right up here. Yeah, that was an adventure. Unfortunately, I noticed I smell like the Mystic River right now. Not a good thing. I don't have enough water in my water tank to take a shower in there. Moby Dick's also taking up space in there. I'm gonna have to sponge bathe myself, unfortunately. Not gonna film that. I'm just like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I tell you guys too many things. So in true van life fashion, my final adventure on this road trip is scampering across an interstate off-ramp to get food. Yep, this was the last day of this road trip. Barely filmed when I was on the water, honestly. Barely filmed at all today. I think my body just know it's time to wind down all the road trip stuff. Back to the grind, back to Boston. Tomorrow's my first day in the office in like 3 weeks. And I already know I'm gonna have a big problem. I forgot my password for my work laptop. I've been thinking about it all day. That's the first thing I'm gonna need to do tomorrow after I shuttle all the way downtown, which is always an adventure. Yeah, I don't know. I hope the muscle memory comes back when I'm sitting there at my desk and pull the laptop open. Otherwise, I'm off to a bad start. Oh man, it's so hard to disengage. The thing about like what I have, the van life that I'm living, I hate that term, but that's just my lifestyle. With these road trips, it's so much freedom, it's almost intoxicating. I wake up every morning with no plan, have a breakfast for as long as I want, and then I just kind of drive around, find a place on Google Maps to kayak, and do that until sunset, and then find a place to camp, and I just do that day after day after day for like 3 weeks, and it's intoxicating. It's so much freedom. I imagine it's what retirement feels like if you still have like good knees and like, can walk around and actually do stuff, you know what I mean? I love it so much. Problem is, I am not retired. I have to bring home the bacon. I still have this job that I depend on. YouTube is never gonna pay the bills. Forget about YouTube income. That's like nothing. I gotta grind and I gotta re-engage and not like detach too much, you know what I mean? Yeah, I always go through this after I come back from a vacation. I'm sure everyone goes through something like this. You are just on the road doing magical stuff on your own time, off the clock for a couple of weeks, and now you have to get back to the grind. This is also kind of a new job for me. I've only been on the job for like 3 months, and I'm still in training. So tomorrow's gonna be stressful, guys. Oh my God, it's gonna be stressful. This whole week, I might actually go into my office like multiple days just to grind through the strain. That'll be the next video. Thanks for watching my whole road trip series. This was the end. The Mystic River, kayaking, scampering across an off-ramp. That's my van life, folks. Peace out.